Caye Caulker is the second island that I stayed for a couple of nights when I visited Belize. From San Pedro to Caye Caulker, you can take ferry, and it takes about less than an hour. It was, I think, about 45 minutes with the ferry express. This is their schedule. It starts from 6 in the morning, and you just come to the ferry terminal and purchase the ticket. It costs about $19 for one-way ticket from San Pedro to Caye Caulker. The thing about this island is it's a very small island. It's much smaller than San Pedro. You can walk from one side of the island to another side in like half an hour. So 2 days was too much. Unless if your day is full of activities with diving and scuba diving. This is a cafe that I had breakfast. It was a decent cafe. Because one of the things with most of the restaurant and cafes in Belize is the quality of food is not very high. It's very average or below average and overpriced. So food is not very impressive in this part. So this breakfast was $9, which was actually decent. And I stayed at this hotel one night, Island Magic Beach Resort. The location was walking distance from the ferry terminal. The room was very, very clean. I paid $90 for a night. That was November. November is the low season. The rooms were very, very clean. I don't know if they're gold standard or not because I just booked the first night gold standard. The rest I was just booking whatever I wanted to because at the airport they really check the first night. They don't care about the rest of your trip. And the breakfast is not included. That's their pool, which was not very impressive. But the room was very nice, super clean. This is their kind of a private access to the beach. It's not a private beach, but you can just sit here, order your food here. I recommend staying longer in San Pedro and less in this island because this island I stayed 2 nights and it was too much because the restaurants and bars are very limited. If you pick a hotel closer to this sign, that's a better location. The further from this, the split sign, it becomes very isolated. But as you see, Caye Caulker is very slow. And then they have these fishermen who sell fresh lobster or fish. That's the best part of doing something in this island, having lunch by the pier. And that's very inexpensive, about $10. And the quality was very, very high. Because as I said, most of the restaurants in Belize were disappointing. But this, having fresh lobster or fish by the pier is really, really a good experience. I didn't see that in San Pedro. This was just in Caye Caulker. So I don't know, is it because of the pandemic, that there are limited restaurants or everything is limited. But in San Pedro, I did not see this kind of setup. Yeah, as I said, I kind of regretted that I stayed longer here because after 2 days was too much. This cafe is really nice too. It's called Ice and Beans. It's a very good selection of smoothies and breakfast things, very good drinks. Not cheap. It's the same as like if in California, in Los Angeles, you go to a restaurant, to a cafe. So like this one was, I think $5 or $6. So it's not cheap, but it's a very nice cafe. And that's their outside area. They have fast internet as well. There was this hotel which is called Tropical Paradise. The location is not very good. So if you see this hotel, be mindful that the hotel is just facing the cemetery. That's a real cemetery. I'm not sure if on their website they indicated that. I'm sure they don't. But I thank God I didn't book this, because I wouldn't be happy to stay somewhere that my window opens to a cemetery. They even had that skeleton in the reception area. But first of all, the location is further from the ferry terminal, or where all the restaurants are. So it's kind of an isolated location. And then be next to the cemetery. I don't think many people like staying there. So be mindful about that hotel. That's a massage place closer to the ferry terminal and the restaurants. I didn't try it. They said for 1 hour it was $40. I didn't try it, but the location was nice. But when I went inside, it wasn't that clean. So the streets usually are like this, very dead. This island is very, very slow.